In this demo, I'm going to show you how to use a mechanical micropipette. This would be the pipette that you would go for if you're trying to transfer volumes of liquid of 1,000 microliters, which is equal to 1 milliliter or less. So we have our P1000 at the bottom, our P200 in the middle, and our P20 at the top. So if you know you need to transfer 1,000 microliters or less, you need to decide which one of these you need to go for. If you're in the range of 200 to 1,000, use the P1000. If you're in the range of 20 to 200, use the 200. If you're in the range of about 2 to 20, use the P20. On rare occasion, we will pipette less than 2 microliters. If and when that happens, I will give you a P2 micropipette. So now let's go over the components of your micropipette. First of all, you have your plunger, which goes up and down here. This is going to control whether you are drawing up liquid into your pipette tip or if you are dispensing that liquid into a new container. You also have your eject button here. So you can see as I'm pushing that down, this metal piece connected to the shaft is also moving down. And this is ultimately what's going to eject your tip, pushing that tip off into the waste container when you're finished pipetting. You also have a dial here, right, that moves. This is how you set the volume, and a display window that tells you what your pipette is currently set to. So right now it says 090. This is the P1000, so that top number there is the 1000th place, and then next is the 100ths, and then the tens. So 090 that it's currently set to, this means that this pipette currently is set to 900 microliters. So now that I have the volume set, I'm ready to put a tip on and begin pipetting. The P1000 will take the tips that are in the blue box. These are blue tips. These are autoclaved, they're sterile, and we want to keep them that way. So whenever you're not getting a tip on, whenever you're not using this, keep the lid closed. But to put the tip on, we just simply sort of jam the tip onto the end of our micropipette, and we want to use some pressure, but not too much. You don't want to spill these pipette tips all over the place. They would no longer be sterile. We'd have to throw them all out. But you want to apply a little bit of pressure to make sure that this tip is on nice, secure, and snug. Once you have the pipette tip on, you want to be very careful that you do not touch the tip onto anything. If it touches your lab coat or the bench, anything, you should probably assume that it is no longer sterile and just eject it and get a new one. You have, with the plunger, 2 stops. So you have one stop that's very easily met, and then you have a second stop. If you apply a bit more pressure, you'll meet more resistance, but you can push the plunger down deeper. I've already loosened up the cap to the water, so I'm ready to pipette. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push down to the first stop, and I'm going to hold it there. I'm holding at the first stop. Dip the pipette tip down into your liquid of interest, and now I'm going to release that stop very slowly back to resting position. So as I'm doing that, as I'm releasing that back to resting position, I have now drawn up 900 microliters into the pipette tip. So you can see the water line there. Again, I'm trying to be very careful not to touch anything with my pipette tip. So I have my tube open. I'm holding the cap between my thumb and pointer finger. I have my 900 microliters. I'm now going to insert that pipette tip, and now I'm going to go from the resting position, right, and push down to the first stop. You can see I have dispensed the 900 microliters there at the bottom of the tube. But then I'm going to continue, and I'm going to go down to the second stop. And what you'll see are some bubbles when I do that, right? And that tells me that there's no more liquid that's being dispensed. So I have my 900 microliters there. I can now release this, and I can eject the tip. So your P20 and P200 operate in a very similar fashion as your P1000, exactly the same, except for they take the yellow tips instead of the blue, and how you set and read the volume is a little bit different. So your P200, that top number is no longer the 1000th place. That's the 100s, followed by the 10s and the 1s. So 100, you read that, that's 100 microliters that this is currently set to. The P20, that top number is your 10s, followed by the 1s. So this 040, that's 4 microliters that this P20 is currently set to. So altogether, that is how you micropipette 1,000 microliters or less. Now I'm going to show you how you will transfer larger volumes of liquid, let's say 3 to 25 milliliters. And we're going to, for that, use this automatic pipette aid. So our automatic pipette aid here, it's battery powered, but it's rechargeable. It's very intuitive to use. So there's only 2 buttons here. We have the up button and the down button. But we have many different size pipettes that you can put onto this that will fit this. So here, for example, we have a 25 mil pipette. It will actually go up to 32 mils. It actually holds 32 mils. You just have to be careful that you do not over pipette, so you do not want to pass these lines up here at the top. There is a cotton filter up here to make sure that if you do over pipette, it doesn't go up into the pipette aid. Here's a 10 mil. It actually holds up to 13. So once you pick out a pipette here of the appropriate volume, these are sterile, they're individually packaged, so you're just going to start to unpackage it from this end, attach this onto the nose piece here, give it a little twist so it's on nice and snug. And once you're ready to pipette, let's just say I want to pipette 10 milliliters of this LB broth. Okay, so I'm going to loosen the cap here. I am ready to pipette, so I'm going to pull this out of the packaging, insert this down into the LB, and I'm going to press on the up button here. I can see the LB coming up into, drawing up into the tip, and then I can dispense that into whatever container, right? And to do so, I'm just going to push down on the down button. And that's that. This can now be tossed. Easy, right?